Hello and welcome back. I'm Stefanos Stefandos, your guide in this video series on mastering masculinity. Now, before we dive into today's topic of communication, I wanted to share with you the importance of this video series on masculinity in contemporary times. I suffered a great deal because of my ignorance, my arrogance, and the reality that I had nowhere to go when I felt stuck in my life. Yes, I had friends that I trusted, but they couldn't understand me. Being a man in today's world is challenging, and not having a map can leave us with the feeling of being lost at sea with no compass. Getting on the other side of my own challenges have equipped me to create a roadmap for you to navigate as a man. To live in your purpose, have meaningful relationships, experience deep intimacy, feel vitality in your body and mind, and have the successes you deserve. That's right, successes. This video series introduces you to the fundamentals that I have committed my life to evolving my own path and the path of other men. Men need to show up now more than ever for themselves, their communities, families, women, children, other men, and Earth. The world needs you at your best. This video series and my comprehensive program, Reclaim Your Kingdom, which I'll tell you more about in video 4, teaches you how to be the best version of you. In the last video, you learned that confidence is not a result of doing or having anything, but rather comes from radical self-acceptance. You had the courage to take an honest look at your past and identify the limiting beliefs that were driving your behaviors, bust those beliefs, and then update them into powerful I am statements. These reinforce the truth of who you are, not who you've been. Again, I acknowledge you, brother, for your willingness to do the work. Willingness is actually a key virtue in my Reclaim Your Kingdom program, because without willingness, we are passive, weak, indecisive. Willingness demonstrates certainty and commitment. This is perceived as safe and attractive by others, especially our lovers. So I ask you to remain willing and open as we dive into our topic for this video, which is healthy communication. I'm going to teach you 3 tools that will immediately improve the quality of your relationships and relieve a lot of tension and confusion. Men often get a bad rap of being bad communicators. And sorry men, often this is true. We are not great at communicating, but that isn't because we are incapable of it. And not all men are bad at communicating, but it's because we haven't been taught properly. And because of that, we often go where we are comfortable, or rather what is habit. As Dr. Joe Dispenza says, let's break that habit of being yourself and try something new. Men, we live in a time where how we show up and express ourselves is more important than ever. It is time for us to break out of our patterns of being shut down, too aggressive, emotionally unintelligent, mansplaining, and averting vulnerability, so that we can have healthier relationships with ourselves, our loved ones, our employees, peers, bosses, our friends, and our children. Relationships are truly at the heart of feeling fulfilled in life, and communication is at the heart of healthy relationships. A recent study of hospice patients reported that among the top 10 regrets people speak as they face their death include, I wish I said I loved you more. I should have spoken my mind instead of holding back. I should have been the bigger person and had resolved conflicts with others. I wish I had the courage to live more in my truth, more truthfully in myself. If you were on your deathbed, would you have any of these regrets right here and right now? Where in your life are you withholding? What secrets are you keeping? Who are you harboring anger or blame at? What lies are you telling? Do the people you care about really know how you feel about them? Think about how your lack of healthy communication is impacting your relationships. And I get it. There can be so much fear of not knowing how or not having the courage to express our truth. The unspoken word can leave us regretful and resentful, and worse, the word spoken that is hurtful or untrue creates distance in relationships. I struggled massively with my communication. I spent my life bouncing between 2 extremes when it came to expressing myself. Either totally shut down, repressed, secretive, or hyper-aggressive, loud, and dominating. I'd lie, I'd cheat with my girlfriends, and I would live in the shadows, visiting prostitutes so no one would know. I lived with this guilt and shame as I didn't know how to express it, and I reacted and retracted further to this. This repressed pain leaked out in the form of aggression and rage. I would project my fears of being caught and my shame onto others. I was always on guard and actually looked for fights. Violence and aggression was the norm, and my temper was way out of control. Fortunately, because of some of what I'll be teaching you in this video, I shifted massively from extremes and mastered the art of communication. My relationships today are more fulfilling than ever. My wife and I are so clear in the way we speak to each other. My intention is not to win an argument or conversation, but rather my intention is to understand her, be present, and share myself truthfully with presence, confidence, and depth. I don't hold back with my family. Expression in the family unit for me was at times really strenuous. Our values collided. I grew up not being seen and heard. Now, I speak freely and hold myself accountable so that I do not die with any regrets. You too can learn how to feel powerful and vulnerable so you can communicate from a place of clarity and certainty. I call this being a vertical man. It's a big part of why I teach Reclaim Your Kingdom and what I teach in Reclaim Your Kingdom. Now, when you learn how to be a vertical man, you are present, confident, certain. Your communication is honest under any set of circumstances, including adversity. The freedom you feel is second to none, and I will teach you how to feel this level of liberation. There is nothing more satisfying to your lover, children, colleagues, or friends than a man who shows up in his clarity and knows how to communicate his needs. Are you ready for the how? Let's dive in. We're going to start with the most powerful communication tool for men, which is listening. That's right, the most powerful communication tool doesn't actually involve talking at all, and it's not just for men, it's for everyone actually. Why is listening so powerful? Well, because as men, we want to fix. We're driven towards that. We are constantly looking for a solution to a problem. We are hardwired this way, but this wiring wasn't established down during different times when our primary roles as men was to hunt and protect in wild and uncertain environments. That's when it was laid down. That's when it occurred. We had to be on the lookout for any potential threat, problems to solve. We don't live in those times now. Yet we respond, or rather react, to life in much the same stress response way. It is time for us to evolve as men, and I don't mean that we stop fixing or solving problems. That is an incredible superpower of the healthy masculine. What I do mean is that our constant pursuit of trying to solve a problem, which is often an attempt to inflate our own ego, is hindering our ability to truly connect. Instead of hearing another person, we are already thinking of what we are going to say next. I hear from my female clients or partners of my clients all the time, they just want their men to listen. They are craving to be heard, to not be interrupted, to not be treated like a problem to solve, to not be objectified in that way. And it's not just women who want to be heard. We all deeply desire to be seen. We feel that way the most when someone listens to us. So men, this is your first tool for effective communication, listening. Listening to others without an agenda, without an intent to respond. In your interactions over the next few days, practice listening. That doesn't mean you don't speak at all. It just means you speak a bit less and with less advice giving or problem solving. Say things like, I really hear you, or I understand this is hard for you, or what do you need from me? Please do not underestimate the power of this. When my wife is stressed or emotional, I listen fully, and even if I have lots of ideas or suggestions on how she could fix the problem, I listen and I ask, what do you need from me? And 100% of the time her response is just what you are doing, listening. We don't need to give anything more. And listening is not just powerful in intimate relationships. For those of you with colleagues or employees, it is the most effective agent for individual change and group development. In Stephen Covey's best-selling book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, habit 5 is seek first to understand, then to be understood. Covey, who's passed away now, points out that our education and socialization has placed an emphasis on teaching us how to communicate, e.g. read, write, and speak, but doesn't prepare us to really listen to what others are saying and communicating. So listening becomes a communication skill we must develop and practice. Now, let's move on to your second tool. Brothers, this is powerful. It's powerfully simple because you can all count. Now, when you find yourself in a tense or difficult situation, instead of immediately reacting, habitual patterning, stop and count to 10 or take 5 long, slow, deep breaths into your belly. As you're counting or breathing, check into your body. What is your body doing? What is it feeling? Is it ready to fight, even if that isn't really necessary? As you breathe deeper and count higher, do you feel yourself relaxing? As your body is calming down, are you seeing the situation differently, feeling it differently? As men, we spend so much time in our heads that we are disconnected from our bodies. Yet science is showing us that there is so much intelligence in our bodies. So use this process to get out of your mind and connect to the wisdom of your body. You will notice that the intensity you feel in your body and mind is much less than it was either 10 seconds ago or 5 breaths ago. So now, instead of being reactive and regretting what would explode out of your mouth, you'll be able to express yourself in a healthier way. Now, this form of self-regulation is powerful for reprogramming our behavioral patterns. Do this regularly. If you instill this practice in your life for 90 days, you will literally change the hardwired neural mapping in your brain to be geared towards responsiveness instead of reactivity. Science and psychologists tell us that by the time we are in our mid-30s, our identity or personality will be completely formed. This means that for those of us over 35, we have memorized a select set of behaviors, beliefs, emotional reactions, conditioned responses that are now subconsciously programmed within us. Those programs are running us because the body has become the mind. This means that we will think the same thoughts, feel the same feelings, react in identical ways unless we consciously choose to change the programming, like you began to do in the last video. Now, when you pause deliberately with a powerful intention to communicate differently than your conditioning, you are changing your programming for the better and the course of humanity as well. Stay with me on that one. Now, when you use this tool of pausing and counting to 10 or taking 5 deep breaths before you communicate with any kind of response, you and others will feel a sense of stability in your behavior. You will be safer and more approachable to communicate with, and your communication won't feel as charged. Now, as I mentioned before, this is one of the secrets for creating attraction. In the following video, I'm going to show you techniques for authentic pickup artistry and relationship maintenance that doesn't involve manipulation and sneaky tactics. Be real and be you. This is where it's at. True confidence that is not masked with false bravado. And finally, we're on to the third tool, which is writing a letter as a way to express your feelings, but you are going to go about writing this letter in a very different way. So first, I want you to think of someone in your life where there are unspoken words, where a lack of honest communication is perpetuating resentment, or where you are withholding how you truly feel. This could be a parent who was hard on you or not there for you at all. It could be a friend you had a falling out with, or an ex from a relationship that ended badly, or maybe it's a child you feel you haven't fathered well, or someone who you have romantic feelings for that you've never really expressed. Now, when selecting this person, the key is that you feel something in regards to your relationship with them that has never been communicated. It could be anger, it could be remorse, it could be love and appreciation. You are actually never going to send this letter to the person, so it doesn't matter if they are dead or alive. Think of this as a feeling dump. So you have full permission to fully express. So many of us men, we're told to shake it off or man up as boys when we express any feelings, so we've gotten too good at repressing them. This process will actually help you realize that you are capable of expressing feelings, and it's manly to do so. Remember, men, we have a limbic system that regulates emotion. Literally, just write down how you feel, all the feelings associated with the experience or that person. Don't overthink it, just write and feel the writing. Let it come out of your hand. Let it all out, no holding back. Now, some of us are even programmed to believe that men don't feel, so we consider ourselves inept at emoting. I promise you that is not true. Just because you are a man doesn't mean you can't feel. Remember, you have a limbic system in your brain that regulates your emotions. Tap into that power. Now, when you write this, use a pen and paper. This is not some woo-woo practice. When you write this, when we write with our hands rather than type, the feeling centers of our brains are activated and there is a tremendous brain integration that transpires. As we write, we are becoming more self-aware and we are learning to see life from our circumstances that are new, from new perspectives. These new openings and perspectives literally allow us to emotionally relate differently to past events. One may say you are freeing yourself from your past by releasing these pent-up emotions and changing your neuronal pathways in the process. And the cool thing is that laying this foundation within yourself will prepare you massively for the next video of intimacy and sexuality in relationships. When you're finished with the letter, you're going to tear it up. But do so with focused intention. As you rip up that letter, allow those intense feelings to go with it. And remember, you are not your past. Now, as a bonus step, if you feel that writing a letter you would actually send to a person in your life would be a supportive step, if you choose to do so, I encourage you to write how you feel without any blame, resentment, or guilt. Just write from your truth, from your heart. Use I statements. Make it about how you feel. Now, for some of you, this may be really difficult, and that's okay. Challenge has forged epic men in the past and will continue to do so. Go into this with an open mind and open heart and really express everything you need to hear. My brother, I once again acknowledge you for your willingness. Diving into thoughts and emotions that have been repressed for some time, maybe even decades, is not easy to do. But in doing so, you are freeing yourself from future resentment, shame, blame, projection, regret by communicating your feelings. Well done. In the next video, we go deeper into practice of intimacy, and in Reclaim Your Kingdom, we go deep into learning how to relate from all angles with ourselves and with others. Before you move on, please take a moment to leave your comments, thoughts, and questions below. The more interactive you make this, the more you will get from it. Every comment is viewed, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video where I teach you so much about sex and intimacy. Brothers, blessings and power on your journey. I look forward to seeing you there. And just one more thing before we go, just one more thing. Men, real men that are good at being men are forged through challenge. They are forged through adversity. And the man that chooses challenge, to choose to challenge himself, to bring courage into his being, to move through difficulty, and not so much conquer that, but be with that, become familiar with it, that's an attribute of man that it's missing in today's society. And that's something, again, that we go deeper into in Reclaim Your Kingdom, where I teach you how to leverage challenge and difficulty and adversity and step into your true essence of masculinity. Thank you so much for being here, brothers. I'll see you in the next video.